excited that you're all here. And of course, it's not you that I worry about, it's the people who didn't show up. So go back and tell all your friends and neighbors that you know the secret and they need to get caught up. What we're going to talk about tonight is laughter for the health of it. And there are a whole lot of different reasons why laughter is good for us psychologically, but also physically. Physiologically, there are all kinds of research studies now that prove that laughter is good for your health. We'll talk about all the different ways that it is, including for your brain health, which is of course my area of expertise. But I, in 2009, became a certified laughter leader, which means it's official. My mom says you can get certified as anything, and it's true. But I also get to wear one of these. So, I'm not going to wear it the whole time though, because then I keep thinking that there's something in my eye and I get very worried that I have this red tumor or something in my eye. So, but I do have some for people who are especially enthusiastic. There may be some prizes. I love laughter, and we've always in my family loved laughter. Laughter is what helped us survive taking care of my grandmother who had Alzheimer's disease. There are reasons why I'm not a nurse. My sister Debbie's a nurse. She does pediatric oncology, kids with cancer. Ugh. She thinks my job's depressing. I think she's crazy. It's okay, we work well together. My reasons why I'm not a nurse mostly have to do with bodily fluids, not blood. Blood I can handle. Anything else that comes out of the body, especially spitting. And I used to have to help my grandmother brush her teeth. There's spitting involved in that in case you didn't realize. It's the end. So my sister one day took our medicine cabinet and put one of my favorite Far Side cartoons on the inside of the medicine cabinet. And that's kind of one of the ways that we started in the caregiving practices to say, if you've got to do something unpleasant that you're not comfortable with, make sure you take time, make it something that you can enjoy as well. Simple little strategies that I'm going to share with everybody today, different philosophies of how to look at life, of how to look at stress, and how to get through it alive. Humor has always been important, as I said, in our whole family. And I'm going to use a lot of my family's stories, with their permission, most of them, to demonstrate how this might apply in a real life situation. So we're not just going to talk about research and the practical stuff, but we're also going to talk about some of the easily applied things. But we're also going to do some laughter therapy because I want you to go out here laughing. I love that. What we're going to do is an actual laughter therapy session. And I'm going to give you some rules and some parameters. But first I want to tell you a little bit about the background of how this all came to be. I work with the World Laughter Tour, and you can go on their website, worldlaughtertour.com. They certify me to be a laughter leader. And they do laughter therapy, laughter yoga, laughter, all kinds of different things. This is not joke telling. This is fake it till you make it. Simulated laughter that we're going to then watch and learn how it converts to true mirthful laughter. The theory here is that a lot of jokes can be personally driven. So what I think is hysterically funny, Gwen might find offensive. Andrea might have seen it already 3 times on YouTube tonight. Okay, so everybody's different with their individual sense of humor. So therapeutic laughter looks at simulating the laughter and then creating a group experience to turn it into true mirthful laughter. So we're going to do that. One of the things that we talk about in the World Laughter Tour is that we are non-political, non-religious, we are non-exploitive, it's an acronym, PREP-CT, non-perfectionistic, which means I get to mess up a lot and it's okay. I'm not supposed to be perfect. Not supposed to be perfect. I have to tell myself that frequently. Non-competitive and non-threatening. And those are really important things because for a lot of people, they're very self-conscious about their laughter. And a lot of times I work with a lot of older adults whose parents told them, don't laugh, it's not appropriate. Or, oh, the sound of your laughter, it's like a cackling hyena, don't laugh. So people become very self-conscious about their laughter many times. This is a place where we're all safe. This is a place where no one is going to judge or criticize you and your laughing. This is supposed to be, oh my gosh, another favorite person just walked in the room. I have to tell you all, I am a quasi-retired Sweet Adeline. And there are a whole mess of people from my former chorus who live in Simsbury, and they're here tonight, and I'm so excited because I haven't seen them in a long, long time. Okay, so focus, non-perfectionistic. I love them. Okay, so what is very important though is to make sure that we're all living and laughing together. And we're going to talk about how to integrate laughter into your life, because that's really hard. We're going to talk about eliminating some of the barriers that prevent us from laughing when we're stressed or worried or anxious, and all of those things, and how to integrate that into your day, because that's often the hardest piece. All right, anybody thinking that I'm actually Gina Barreca and they're wondering why I'm not? No. Oh, no, okay. Just want to make sure you had an opportunity to escape if this is not the right room. Okay, good. If you were actually here for the art show, the art here is beautiful. It's really lovely. Some are for sale, I see. I might be very talented, very, very talented. All right. This is a light form of exercise. Now, we have some rules in laughter therapy. The number one rule is no pain, no pain. My husband's a physical therapist. That stands PT, pain and torture. We all know that. My world, no pain, no pain. If I say to you, raise your arm, and you have a shoulder impingement, don't go to the point of where it hurts. Or if you have a cold and you don't want to spread your germs, just go like this and we won't shake your hand. We'll just laugh with you or at you. No, I'm only kidding. No, we're not going to laugh at you. What we want to do is make sure that people are comfortable physically as well as emotionally. If you've got a prolapsed bladder or uterus, be careful. If you've had recent abdominal surgery, be careful. Collapsed lung, take it easy. But this truly is therapeutic exercise. It's not obviously going to make you lose 85 pounds, but it is a light form of exercise. So we're going to start with just some general warm-ups. So make yourselves comfortable, both feet on the floor, please. And for some of these, we will be standing, but if you prefer not to stand, that's okay too. I do it with seated elders all day long. Okay, so we're going to start with some basic breathing. Oh, and my sweet Adeline buddies will love this. In singing, how do we breathe? That's right, diaphragmatic, and we all go sideways and show each other. Not a pretty thing. So, I mean, it would be for some of them, but not for me. Okay, so what do we do with our diaphragmatic breathing? Where are your lungs? Any nurses in the room? Nurses? That's right, they're over here. When I say take a deep breath, many times people go, they're not here. They're not here. So this should not be raising. When we're taking a deep breath, we're expanding. Our diaphragm drops to make enough room for the lungs to expand, and it's going to look like your belly is expanding and going in. I will tell you, when I ask you to take deep breaths, if you start to get lightheaded, it's because you're not expelling all of your air. So make sure when you're breathing out, you're really getting that out. When we're talking about taking deep breaths and going ho, ho, ha, 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 it's from that diaphragmatic breathing. That's what we want to do. So, but first we're just going to start with some basic breathing. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Keep breathing while I'm talking, because if they drop dead before the end of the night, then, they don't ask me back. I've learned. I'm only kidding. If any of you have a hard time with anxiety or sleeping at night, I've recently learned of a new breathing pattern where you go in for 5, hold for 7, and out for 10. So you breathe in for a count of 5, and whatever personal 5 that is. When I've had a bad asthma allergy day, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you want to be careful. If you have a pulmonary condition, talk to your doctor about that first. Yeah?
Breathe through your nose, in and out through your mouth.
Correct. And what we like to do is breathe out like you're blowing bubbles in a straw. The other thing that I do with my clients a lot of the times is we blow bubbles, especially for people, if you're caring for someone who's wheelchair bound. The wheelchair seating doesn't allow for a lot of expansion there, but naturally that happens. If we tell people to blow a spirometer or something, it's not going to work for them. But blowing bubbles with the grandchildren works every time. Or if you say, here, can you make a rainbow? And we give them bubbles to blow, and it really does make a huge difference. Okay, so now we're going to start with some of our physical warm-ups. And I want you to just rest in your chair and just start rolling those shoulders back. Again, no pain, no pain. Oh, I have been looking forward to this all day, folks. Whew, and now the other way. This is good. All right. And we're going to reach up with both hands. Reach back a little bit if you can. Tickle the clouds. Cross over and stretch the other way. My husband made me golf this weekend. By the way, I am a terrible golfer. Whenever you cross midline, you're using both sides of your brain. Good for brain health. And bring them down. Shake them out. Okay, now I want you to wake up your head a little bit. I'm going to start by going like this. Yes, your hair looks lovely. And stomp it out. Do we have it downstairs? Make them wonder what we're doing. Okay, now we're going to reach up 1 foot at a time. Take your toes and point to them to your nose. And feel that stretch in your hamstring or in your calf. Now point it away. Circles. Full range of motion when you draw the alphabet with your toes. A, B, not going to do the whole thing. C, D, E. Okay, now, that's about all my knee can take. We're going to do it with the other foot. Again, stretch it. Point your toes to your nose. Point them away. Now this is really good cognitive exercise. Going to do it with the other foot. Draw the alphabet. You would think for as many times as I instruct people to do that, I'd be better at it. But that gives you a full range of motion in your ankle. And again, just kind of shake that out. All right. Next thing that we're going to do is I'd like you all to stand up. One of the things that they've taught us in the World Laughter Tour is that when we use the palms of our hands with pressure, that gives us feelings of wellness and happiness. So what we're going to do is a little vocal warm-up. We're going to go ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Say it with me. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Great, okay. Now, it does, but that's okay. No one's watching. You're in the front row. You didn't have to confess that at all. You just confessed that on television. No, I'm only kidding. She's good. Nothing going on here, folks. What happens is, yes, your whole body will start to shake, and that's a good thing because you're going to use different muscles for this kind of exercise. The other thing that we're going to do is clap. But also, in order to really make this go from fake to true laughter, the fake it till you make it, is the wonderful Sweet Adeline face. Now, in Sweet Adelines, we have big face, and we go, right? What I want you to, we're going to practice this in a minute, making this face, but you have to smile. If you don't smile, the smile is a precursor to laughter. There are days when I'm in my office going, I love my job, I love my job, I love my job, I love my job. And in a circle, and depending on how fast the circle goes, we know how much stress Pam is under. But it's always with a smile because it can trick your brain into thinking something positive is going to happen. So what I want you to do is ho, ho, ha, 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 with a big smile. You ready? Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Great. Now, the other thing, though, is that laughter is a community thing, and we need to make eye contact with people in the room. You ready? So look around just at the people in your row. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. 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 Good. Everybody feel vocally warmed up? Are we getting ready? You're like, you're like waiting for the next shoe to drop. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? All right. First of all, I don't want you to believe a thing I tell you tonight. I want you to check your own. You've never had a speaker come in and tell you that, have you? No. Don't believe me. What I want you to do is I want you to check your own data. Be a Connecticut Yankee cynic. All right? I want you to close your eyes and do a head scan, head to toe. Where's your stress level right now on a scale of 1 to 10? You don't have to tell anybody, but where's your stress level? Keep that number in your mind. And how about your energy level? Where's your energy level on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is low and 10 is high? Where's your energy level? Keep those numbers in your head. You can open up your eyes. We're going to check your data in a minute. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a whole lot of negativity going on in the world right now, right? What we're going to do is, I don't believe that everybody thinks that they have an inner child. I'm not here to judge, but I think we can all agree there's a lot of negativity. I want you to clear out your inner space of the negativity around you, your own personal bubble space. So when we go ho, ho, ha, ha, ha 3 times, then afterwards we're going to gather up the negativity and throw it away as far away from us as we can back out to the universe on a yay. It's going to look like this. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Yay! Any questions? What are you laughing at? You're going to be doing it in a second, folks. What happened to no laughing at people? All right. Now, make as much eye contact as you can with people around you. Go. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Yay! Awesome. Have a seat for a second. Woohoo! Nobody fell. Haven't lost anybody yet. This is good. They're smiling. This is a good thing, except for the woman taking notes. I can send you a PowerPoint of this whole thing if it'll help you just enjoy the moment. Okay, but that's all good. All right. So, quick check of your own data. Anybody have an increase in their energy level? How about your stress level? Down a little, micro? A lot? Awesome. This is a pretty relaxed group, though. I bet it went from 2 to 1. Pretty relaxed group that hangs out at the Simsbury Library on a Monday night. All right, so let's talk about why that is. Has anybody here ever heard of a little show called Seinfeld?
Say that again.
Seinfeld? Oh, yeah, okay. Seinfeld was a great show because it tapped into multiple sources of humor. Now, I'm one of those people who appreciates Seinfeld. I get it. It was funny. I laughed. My brother-in-law knows every line from every movie, and he could look at someone and say, "Oh my God, that sure reminds me. Do you remember the puffy shirt?" And he will say every line of every episode. "Oh, I thought I would have soup today. Oh my God, do you remember this? Blah, 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 blah." And he'll be able to tell you every line. He loved Seinfeld. Now, I don't care if you pick Seinfeld or MASH or The Cosby Show. Pick a successful sitcom and they will have done the same thing. Number one is you tap into all the different sources of humor. They are things like exaggeration, irony, tension, realism, exaggeration. Did I already say that? Yeah. It's not perfectionistic. It's okay. I can repeat myself. And a couple other ones that'll come to me. All right. So in the show Seinfeld, what was exaggeration? What character embodied that? You bet. The wild hair, the exaggerated movements, the way he would just walk into this, apartment, never ever had any food of his own, and never ever had to have a job and still lived in this apartment. Everything was exaggerated about him. The wild stories, the wild parties, whatever. How about tension? Maybe some... George was always tense and intense. Okay, also the sexual tension between Jerry and Elaine. They used to have a relationship. Maybe they'll get back together someday, maybe not. So there's tension in there. Irony. What happens when George finally found a woman to marry him? She died. Now, I don't know about you, but this lady's now laughing because his fiance died. Licking the envelopes. Why? Because he was too cheap to buy the good ones. He got them on discount from someone and died. Okay? Irony. That alone as a storyline, not funny. But in the context of everything else, the irony of that is a massive source of humor. I mentioned exaggeration. Aggression is another source of humor. And in that show, to me, Elaine completely embodied aggression. Just the way she would go, "Get out!" And physically, this tiny little being would physically assault someone to say, "Really, you gotta be kidding me, huh? I really didn't know that." I mean, I don't know about you, but again, I'm not so physically aggressive just saying, "I didn't know that, that's funny, huh? You're kidding." All right, so that's another source of humor. Or it can also be that anger aggression, Newman, or the relationship between George and his parents or George's parents. Okay, lots of sources of aggression in that show. Realism is supposed to be Jerry. Jerry is supposed to represent what's realistic in that story. So as you can see, multiple sources of humor. That's what made that successful. Now, if you take my 9-year-old's television programs, and you can hear her laughing and you can hear the canned laughter on the TV program. They're not funny because they're tapping into maybe 1 or 2 sources of humor at most, because a younger person doesn't have the developmental ability yet to appreciate all those sources of humor. So laughter, tapping into these sources of humor, really is something reserved for adults. So why aren't we laughing more? Why don't we laugh more often? Seinfeld is off the air. Baloney, I watch reruns every night at 11 o'clock. And it's on 8 million videos or whatever, DVDs and everything. But But yes, there's a lot less out there. They do a lot of these reality television shows now. And even if you love the voice or the sing-off as much as I do, it's not the same as a good, true laughter. I love Whose Line Is It Anyway? But that's my sense of style of laughter, sources of laughter. But what else? What else is going on with adults that we're not laughing? They actually have done research that says the average number of times that you need to laugh per day is 100.
Oh my.
How are you going to laugh 100 times a day? Any guesses as to the average of how many times a day the average adult laughs? 10. 10. Yeah.
We need to laugh at ourselves.
We need to laugh at a lot of different things. So why aren't we? How many of you watch the news? Why? What's on the news every day? Murders, tragedy, fires, car accidents, death, war, ISIS. Politics. Oh, political season. Has anybody not watched the news in a while? Shh.
They don't have a TV.
Don't tell them. Guess what? They don't know. How do you feel about the weather right now?
I love it. It was a great day.
You know, there are people suffering in Iowa. Their weather's terrible. And you know this can't last for very long, ma'am. It's going to change. It's not going to be good weather always. Do you remember the snowstorms we've had? How hot it was, the drought. Hurricanes are a-coming. Not near us, but they could. Sure, we had tornadoes and hurricanes, right? Now, again, I'm not saying that we should make light of anybody who's suffered and lived through a tragedy. That's not at all what I'm saying. But here are two people who will tell you that life goes on without watching the news. Do you know when it's going to rain?
Yes.
Yeah, your arthritis kicks up. You better believe it. You know when it's going to rain. Now, if there are big, huge, threatening clouds, are you going to go golfing? No. Or to the Hebron Fair. Let me tell you, I told you I lived in Hebron, right? I was at the information booth the day, that Saturday, when the storms, the heavens were going to open up. Those people wanted their money back. I said, is it Secret Forecast Saturday? Did they not tell you it was going to do this? Why did you come to the fair? $12 a pop. Go home, people. Go home. Take it as a $12 lesson to watch the weather before you go out. So do watch the weather sometimes when you go out. But the trick to this is you have to make sure that you don't let it totally affect your life. The news people, wonderful people that they are, I'm saying this to the camera now, I love the news people. I need them to tell people about my Aging Care Academy courses and my dementia consultation services. All right, but the news is important for a number of reasons, but ultimately it's there to sell advertising. And that's what they're trying to get you to do, to think. You could be next. That next weird random fire, or thank heavens you weren't on the road when that accident happened. You could be next. And it's all to make you feel like you can't trust your doctors or your politicians or whatever. And it gives us stress. And that's why we're not laughing 100 times a day.
But I use the mute button and turn it
Oh, I love the mute button. I wish I had one for my kids. No, I'm only kidding. Poor husband has one for me, I'm sure. All right, so how do we do that? How do we limit the stress in our lives? Well, first of all, we have to understand that number one, laughter has the ability to give us a psychological benefit. It helps us feel like we transcend a problem. Okay, there are all kinds of research studies that look on the resilience of caregivers or of cancer survivors or of people who have lived through terrible traumas and ordeals, and majority of them mention spirituality and a sense of humor. All right, the understanding that there is something bigger than me controlling the universe, which means it doesn't have to be on my shoulders, thank heavens. All right, and a sense of humor to make light of it in a number of ways, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. All right, physical benefits, as I mentioned, there are physiological benefits to humor. One of the things that we know is that it's really good for cardiac wellness. They've actually done research studies. This was back in 2009 at the University of California at Loma Linda. They took a whole bunch of cardiac rehab patients. Control group got cardiac rehab. Experimental group got cardiac rehab plus 1/2 hour of your favorite sitcom per day. 40% less recurrence of heart attack 1 year later in the experimental group than the control. That's how impactful the importance of laughter is to your wellness. When we have laughter, we have a couple of different things that are happening. Number one is the laughter stage. We go, oh, no way, Debbie said that. Oh, no, sir, you're going to be kidding. And then what? No. And all of your muscles are contracting, and you're bringing air in, and the blood is flowing, and all of these nutrients are getting to all of your organs and your brain, and everything's firing and working. And then you have the relaxation stage where you go, oh my goodness, whoa, I was almost incontinent. Wow, that was way too much information. Woo-hoo-hoo. That relaxation phase lasts 45 minutes. All of these wonderful endorphins are going off, and they're reducing the harmful chemicals and hormones in your bodies, including the cortisol, which is the stress hormone. It has a direct link to cortisol. So these are good chemical changes that are going on in your body when you laugh. So you have to make time for laughter. Let's do a quick exercise. You all remember with the ho, ho, ha, ha, ha? What we're going to do is I'm going to ask you to kind of step out from the chairs, and we'll kind of, whether you come in here or out there is up to you. Try not to trip over anybody or purses. I'm famous for tripping on purses, usually my own. We're going to do a quick little exercise, and I'm so sorry, you really are going to have to keep up with me. Good luck. All right, so we're going to do the aloha exercise. In Hawaii, how do we say? Our sweet Adeline group went to Hawaii. Best trip ever. How did we say hello? Aloha, and that ends with ha, naturally. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say aloha the Laughter Club way. Instead of just aloha, we're going to say aloha, using our diaphragmatic laughing. Now, I want you to get to as many people in the room as you can, and at the end, we're going to say ho, ho, ha, ha, ha 3 times and a yay. You ready? Go.
Isn't smiling, if you don't laugh when you smile all the time, that means a lot too, doesn't it?
It does. It does. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, go ahead back to your seats. All right. Quick check. Energy levels, stress levels. Any changes? Whew. Well, we just went through the relaxation. We haven't quite gotten into the relaxation phase. So sit and relax. And your back doesn't hurt as much. Norman Cousins' original work on pain showed that his type of cancer, it was a cancer or cancer-related illness. He didn't need his morphine when he was laughing, and he used to watch the Marx Brothers. Okay? Huge benefits for pain management, for arthritis, for all kinds of physical ailments, for immune system, all kinds of things. When I was going through my training, we had a woman who had all kinds of problems breathing, and she didn't need her inhaler the whole weekend, because you're doing that much of an oxygen exchange. And we kept checking her O2 sats. I mean, she was amazing. Yes?
How about migraines? The more you laugh, the more it hurts.
Migraines are tough. With migraines, I think a lot of that, and I say this as a migraine sufferer, migraines are very hormonal. And so I think if we can regulate the hormones more, laughter is good. But laughing when you have a migraine, you want to punch me, don't you? I'm so sorry. What are you doing in the light? Go home, 3 Advil and a cup of coffee, ma'am. Oh, okay, we're going to be really quiet now. Do you have like sound sensitivity and everything? If you want to go just hang out in the stacks, I totally understand. Really?
Bury your head in a pillow. That's
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to try to be as gentle as we can with the rest of this. One of the things that I want people to understand is that the hardest part about this is getting into the habit. Someone had asked me before about smiling, and there are a lot of people who just don't smile. I had one gentleman in one of the groups that I did who couldn't smile, and I kept saying to him, I'm sorry you're so sad. And he's like, no, I'm not. He had Parkinson's disease. And because of the masking of his face, he was happy inside. He was having a great time, but I couldn't see it. There are also people who, because of migraines or depression or other kinds of physiological things or emotional challenges, it's not the right time. We have to use a certain amount of discernment with laughter. I'm going to give you an example. I told you I was going to pick on my family. My family, we do a lot of softball. We all played softball. Dad was a coach. He wanted 3 boys. He got 3 girls. So we all do softball, and I can tell you anything you want to know about the Red Sox. Whew, not their year. That's about all I know. Wow. Not a good year for the Sox. Anyway, we were out in the front yard having what my mom termed the last softball game because my sister, the nurse, was going to move to Texas. She's back. We still play softball. But out in the field, there we were one day, and we're all playing softball, and I hit a pop-up. Bam! And it's going, and there goes my dad, and he's backing up, and he jumps up to catch it, and his pants fall down. I don't even know if he ever caught the ball. I don't think I made it to a base. We were in the dirt laughing. Woo! Poor Dad. So much for his dignity. All right. Similar but different story. My husband's a physical therapist, as I mentioned. And when he was in the first nursing home that he practiced, not at the Hebrew home, this does not happen at the Hebrew home, he was helping a retired judge who had had a massive stroke stand up and walk for the first time. And so as the gentleman was standing up in the parallel bars, his pants fell down. At that moment, 3 CNAs walked by and started laughing. Now, what's the difference? What's the difference between 2 men whose pants fall down? Why is it okay and we have uproarious laughter at the impugned dignity of my dad versus the other gentleman, the judge? What's the difference?
Their situation, maybe.
Their situation how?
Yeah.
What, how? Relatives? No, it's more than that. Although I do take a fair amount of time laughing at my relatives. If you knew some of them, you would too. No, I'm only kidding. What else? He's sensitive, he's sick, he's vulnerable. That's right, he's vulnerable. There's a dignity loss that is about his failed functional abilities, not just he lost his pants and wow, he should have bought a better belt. Okay? Now, and this is true for a lot of things. If I had told you we were very poor, and we didn't have enough money for belts, and this was the only way, okay, that's stretching it. But, if there's a vulnerability there, you want to be very sensitive when you're using humor. I have a very hard time controlling my mouth. I'm one of those, help, I'm talking and I can't shut up people. And I've noticed in meetings, especially at the Monday morning meeting, when they finally started inviting me back, when we sit there and the administrator says, well, and I don't know about this, I can't help but say, oh, and what about that? And everybody goes, ha, 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 ha. And that's fun because I like making people laugh. But sometimes we just need to get through the morning meeting. And I've become very aware of the fact that I keep interrupting people to make my funny little quips. That's a self-awareness that I have to have, and if you're watching, Lisa, I'm very sorry, that I have to have in order to say there's a time and a place that's appropriate. So the same is true for all of us. So how do you integrate this into your life? This is the big challenge. What I want to do is I want to share with you all, in the World Laughter Tour, we have the Good-Hearted Living program. This is my gift to you. Good-hearted living is how you integrate this into your day, because you can't change all of your habits instantaneously. I can't just say, thanks for coming to Simsbury Library, have a great night, and think that you're all going to go home and have a lot of laughter for the rest of your lives. It just doesn't work that way. Even in my house, it doesn't work that way, okay? Because I still get to my F-it stage, and I'm still paying the bills, and I'm still trying to do whatever, and, things happen, life happens. So this becomes a habit, okay? Negativity is just a habit. Watching the news is just a habit. You can take a break from some of those habits. It takes 21 days, researchers tell us. researchers tell us to change a habit. So for the next month, we'll give ourselves a couple of days off. I want you to practice this new way of living. It's called take one thing a day to change. And it's going to be simple as this. And we can post this on the library's website or something if they want. Mondays are for compliments. So I want you to turn to the person next to you, look them up and down, and find something to compliment. Go. You guys are worse than social workers. Whenever I do a seminar for social... He knows. It's still a compliment if you've already heard it before, sir. One of the things that happens a lot when I work with social workers is no one ever asks them their problems. So one of the things that I do is I try to teach them about TOTS disease. Have you heard of TOTS disease?
Tax?
TOTS. T-O-T-S. You haven't heard of TOTS? Taking ourselves too seriously. Now, some people have just TOTS syndrome, but I find in Connecticut we have massive amounts of uncontrolled TOTS disease. Most of those people drive on the highways, and many of them work in healthcare. Okay, so for all of my social work friends, and I'll say to them, I want you to turn around, because we don't often share our challenges as social healthcare workers. We're always helping other people. So I'll say, I want you to take, and we can practice this too, I want you to think about what was the worst thing that happened to you today. Because distance or tragedy plus time equals comedy. Carol Burnett, Mark Twain, that phrase is attributed to a whole bunch of people. Tragedy plus time equals comedy. Okay, so I want you to think about what was the worst thing that happened to you today. And if it wasn't anything today, maybe yesterday or Friday or last Monday. Okay? Now, I want you to put it in one sentence. This is the hard part for the social workers. One sentence, and I want you to tell the person next to you, but you have to add tee-hee to the end. Okay? Tee-hee. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to share mine. When I pulled into the Hebrew home today, I saw that my husband's van doors on both sides were open, and he was nowhere to be found. Tee-hee.
I really didn't have a bad day, but I
that's
couldn't
good.
finish. I couldn't finish the rock, and the rock drained what I was making, and my neighbor came over and did it for me.
Tee-hee. Now, I have a question. Other than the woman who says I have a migraine, tee-hee, and now she's laughing. How come I hear laughter? What's happening? They're still laughing. What happened? Why are people laughing? You're definitely worse than social workers. Okay, folks, listen up. What happened? Why are we laughing? This was supposed to be about the bad part of your day. What happened? I told you to. I'm just that good. Why can't I have that effect with my children? What did I tell you that made it funny? Tee-hee. That's right. Except for her, she didn't have a bad day, and that's a good thing. It's the tee-hee. When we have to realize that every day has some amount of stress or frustration or anxiety or something that's made us worry for a moment, even if it's just for a moment, we think, oh, did I do the dishes? Oh gosh. Or laundry, did I do Tommy's cross-country uniform and now he's not going to have anything for the meet? Okay, just that moment of, okay, everybody has that in a day. Okay, the question is, when you have something every day, what do we get so stressed about? I want you to think about what it was that stressed you out on September 15th, 2013. Nothing! Okay, but there probably was something. Some jerk cut you off. or someone didn't have your brand of milk, or there's always something. But part of this is getting over it. Now, if you really did have something, in all likelihood, that was something that was an opportunity for a life transformation. Maybe there was a retirement or, heaven forbid, a death in the family. And a lot of that is just giving yourself and going on faith. So my husband's a traumatic brain injury survivor. That's right. When he was 1.5 years, he fell 3 stories off a fire escape and landed on his head in Boston. And they put that baby's brain back in his head. You remember my husband, the one I mentioned was a physical therapist? Okay, they put his brain back in his head. He has a plate in his skull and a depressed skull fracture. No, he does not set off the alarms at the airport. Everybody asks. Okay, but he was going to school. We met at Clark University, fine institution. Did you really? Hi, Clarky.
That's still out.
We all have migraines from Clark. No, I'm only kidding. I'm a Clarky. Oh, another Clarky? Yay, I thought you looked familiar. No, I'm only kidding. We'll chat. Okay, so what happened is we both went to Clark, met each other at Clark, and there he was a B, maybe C student. Okay, he was studying geography. Most people at Clark do, or psychology, but he was a geography major. Cartography, econ were his minors. Great school. He did relatively well, went on the 5-year plan because of his learning disability. And he was losing, this was during the last big recession, losing entry-level jobs to people with PhDs because his father had told him to go into the family business, which was city planning. So he figured, well, I've got to be a city planner or a town planner. And so he was losing all of these entry-level jobs. And he said, if I have to go back to school, what I'd really like to do is be a physical therapist. Now, his doctor had told him he was too stupid to be a doctor. Luckily, Dad died when we were seniors, so that was okay. That was out of the way now. A little bit of therapy, we're good. All right, so he decided to go back to school, and he started taking all the sciences, chemistry, aced it, biology, anatomy and physiology, aced it, histology, which is the study of hysts, I think, and kinesiology, the study of kineses, right? Yep, okay. And acing these this is the guy with the brain injury, right? This is the guy with the severe learning disability. So he lost all of those jobs for 2 years, going and losing jobs, and then finally deciding to become a physical therapist. And one day I said to him, can you imagine if you had gotten any one of those jobs, what our lives would be like today? First of all, he'd have been miserable because he didn't find his true passion or his calling. Sometimes you gotta go on faith. Is it easy to lose job after job after job after job? No, of course not. But you have to have faith that that is something that is a personal challenge that we can overcome together. I do believe in joint laughter. I do believe it takes a village for all of us to survive, let alone raise our kids. Forget the kids, they'll figure it out. They're resilient, I hear. We need to take care of us. All right, we need to laugh together, and we need to support each other through caregiving, through job changes and retirement. How about driver retirement? How many of you are ready to give up your keys tonight? They're like, I knew it, like hell. All right, we don't think about that. How many of you have retired from work? How many of you went kicking and screaming?
From work?
Yeah, to retire from work. 2 guys, 3 people out of the room of 40, 50 people. All right? How many of you would go kicking and screaming if I told you tonight's the night you got to hand in your keys? You look at the faces. They don't even want me to talk about it. I'm here to tell you the vast majority of you will not be able to drive in your senior years for some reason or another. Your eyes, your peripheral neuropathies, cognitive impairments, there's going to be something. But we don't plan for driver retirement. So we have to help each other. We have to do a little bit better, I'm really on a soapbox now, aren't I, about making a society that takes care of its elders, of its parents, of its neighbors. We have to find that there is still value in these lives, because there is. And that's why I love working with groups like the VNA and our community centers, because they're the ones who really honor the people by caring for them.
Senior van.
Our senior van, great, absolutely. So support your senior programs and whatnot. Find out about that, because the community that laughs together takes care of each other. All right, enough of that. Woo, I got so preachy. Wow. Whew. It's almost like church. I'm going to have to pass around a collection basket. Wow.
Collection plate.
Woo! No collection plates. You can donate your keys in the no, I'm only kidding. Okay, so how do you integrate this? I said we're going to make small changes. Mondays are for compliments. Tuesdays are for flexibility. I always say Tuesday's the day you're allowed to cut me off on the highway. No other day. Just Tuesday. No, but Tuesday is about not only being exercise and having physical flexibility, but emotional flexibility. You think about the what ifs. We do these exercises like Monday for compliments. We take our fast from the news because it's a negativity frenzy, okay? I talked about that already. We give compliments using I statements. You practice complimenting each other. Tuesdays, play the what if game. There's no such word as can't. How else can you say something? When I'm training my staff, we play the yes and game. So what are your favorite places to travel to?
Maine.
Europe and Maine. Great. Who said Maine? Me too. I love it. Okay. So who said Europe? Awesome. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. You're both going to tell us. We have 3 weeks vacation, all expenses paid. You want to go to Europe. You want to go to Maine. You have to convince each other that you're right without saying anything negative. No no's, no buts. Every time she says something, you have to say yes and convince her of your reality. Now, we don't have to really do this, but these are the exercises that I play, my poor staff, with our staff at Hebrew Healthcare so that they can understand. If I've got someone with dementia who says, there's my mother over there, I have to go talk to her, we can't say, no, sir, your mother died. You're 98. You can't tell that to someone who thinks that's her mother, because what happens? What do you mean my mother died? Why didn't you tell me? And my poor nurses walk into it all the time. And so they'll say, what happened? What happened? Well, your mom died. Is there going to be a service? No. Well, the service was years ago. You're not going to let me go to my mother's service? You've just totally re-traumatized her and made her think you can't trust the nurse. Okay, totally negative. So we teach our staff the yes and game so that we can be very positive and convince someone of a different reality. Now maybe the reality isn't that's not your mother. It's yes, and before you go over there, let's get you a sweater and get them back to their room instead of wandering out the front door. You got it. Redirect them. I don't promote lying to people, but if it keeps them safe and you safe, yeah, I'm all for it. Only I don't call it lying, that sounds gross. I call it therapeutic fibbing. Joining the metaphor. Okay, whatever we have to do. I believe that. We used to, when I worked in case management, wow, now I'm really getting off on a subject. When I worked in case management, I had a woman who lived in Windsor, and her husband, Mac, used to hit her every day because he'd forgotten he'd retired. And he wanted to get ready for work and put his suit on until the day she said, no, it's Sunday, because he was going to go to the day center, and it was Sunday. Oh, well then sure, put my slacks on, put my, my sweats, I'm good to go. Every day became Sunday. Did he know any different? No. Did it keep her safe? She was able to avoid putting him in a nursing home at all. She never had to put him in a nursing home. And I use that language too cavalier. No one ever puts someone, you put a can of soup on your shelf. You don't put someone in a nursing home. It's a heart-wrenching decision. Oh, now I'm getting way off. If you want me to come back and talk about those things, let them know. I'm sure they'll have you back. But today we're talking about the fun humor stuff. All right. Tuesday's flexibility, play those kinds of games. Wednesday is for gratitude. If you have a piece of paper or go home tonight, take your piece of paper and fold it into 4. Make one list of 5 things for which you are truly grateful. Down here next Wednesday, another 5. Another 5. By the end of the month, you've got 20 things that you are grateful for. These are powerful awarenesses, just so you realize that there are silver linings in those clouds. I'm not perfectionistic. We do the 5-finger meditation. Take a moment to think about someone who loves you, the best compliment you've ever received, a loving experience, the most beautiful place you've ever been, and something that you love about yourself. 5-finger meditation. And if you would like, I will actually leave this on the back table. You can put your email on it, and I'll email it to you if you're not going to be able to commit this to memory. It's a memory test. It really is. Everything in my life is about memory. My mom and dad love it when I come to visit. Thursdays are for kindness, and here's what I love about kindness. They've done functional MRI studies and found that when you're kind to someone, your brain lights up. No big surprise. Their brain lights up. No big surprise. Anybody who witnessed the kindness, their brains light up too. Kindness is a pay it forward thing on an exponential scale without you even being aware. All right? So next time you're in line at Dunkin' Donuts, pay for the guy behind you, okay? Because it's not only going to light up your brain and his brain, but also everybody else in the store. And you could have a huge impact on your own part of the village. Friday is, oh yes.
Can I do kindness?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure, but there's a Toyota Corolla that's kind of a bluish, mauvey gray with the lights on when I got here.
Oh no. Do a kindness.
Could be mine. Headlights are on. I wasn't sure if someone had turned their remote on, but it seemed like they were on a long time.
Do you want to go out and check?
Yeah, I might have a battery.
Oh, it hasn't been that long. Go ahead.
I told the librarian, but I should.
But since, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Thank you for that. We all like that kindness. Thank you. Yay! Yay for us! Our brains are lighting up.
She'll have to go out and jumpstart.
I was going to say, so who's going to volunteer to help her when she comes back? We need another kindness. Okay, Fridays. Kind of similar to Mondays in a way, and I'll explain it. Fridays are for forgiveness. Who's the hardest person to forgive?
Yourself.
Same as who's the hardest person to compliment. Okay. We have a rule or saying in the World Laughter Tour. Today's the day I stop hoping for a better past. Today's the day I stop hoping for a better past. A lot of times what we struggle with and what we can't forgive ourselves for are things that we've done. And we can say I'm sorry to someone but still live with that angst. And we can't do anything about it. It's just a cancer eating us inside, okay? We've got to let go of it. We've got to forgive it. We can't change the past. Sometimes we grow from it, and sometimes we learn from our mistakes, and sometimes it just keeps happening again and again and again. But you can't change the past. So you've got to stop hoping for a better past. Simply saying that, even if you have to repeat it as a mantra, can be very powerful to your own emotional wellness and allow you to integrate things into your life. We also have a forgiveness meditation. All that has offended me, I forgive. Whatever made me bitter or resentful, unhappy, I forgive. Within and without, I forgive. Things past, things present, and things future, I forgive. Realize that there are going to be wrongs in the future too, whether you make them or someone else does. And part of letting that go and not internalizing every little thing is to recognize that. Just like I can tell you, it's going to snow this year. Soon as we all make peace with it, we will remember. We're from Connecticut. We know how to drive in this stuff. But it takes us till like February till we figure it out. You're right, sir. Not everybody does. You're right. That woman from Maine, she's got it under control. The rest of us. All right.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
People don't seem to learn from one year to another to drive in snow. We can live here for 50 years and still have a continuous problem.
That's true. That's true. And part of that's because we're always bringing new people into the state. No, I'm only kidding. I don't know what the trouble is, but we do. We get hysterical over it. And there are people who have snow most of the year. I have a girl I went to high school with who lives in Alaska. And I think, oh my God, that's terrible, all that snow. She's like, are you kidding me? It's just a part of the life. It's like leaves here. Okay, we just get used to that. Okay, the leaves are falling. Yep, we're going to have to pick them up or move them or pay the town to take them away or something, rake them into the woods. All right, weekends. I love the weekends. The weekends are for chocolate. Yay! Weekends, whatever makes you happy, sir. The weekends are about rest, recreation, and relaxation. We have to force ourselves to take time to restore our inner souls. We have to look at, especially if we are caregiving or if we're in a caring profession, and I mean, unless you're working for a bank where you deny people loans, okay, pretty much anyone else, is that what you do, Gwen? Oh, good, okay. Unless that's what you do, The rest of us are usually, even if we're in customer service or something, we're helping someone. Or even if we're, just working here at the library, we're volunteers, we're helping other people. Take time to restore yourselves. Be playful, start a joy list. This is how I quit smoking. Well, this in the patch. I used to smoke 3 packs a day. Wow. I know. I'm actually only 23 years old. No, I'm kidding. All those wrinkles. What happened was I had to make a joy list of all of the things that I would like to do instead of smoking, because I loved smoking. I still have my MFDs, my Marlboro Fantasy days. Okay, I used to walk by the smokers at the Hebrew Home and go, "Hi Al, how you doing? Need anything, Al?" Not anymore. Now I went to Vegas with the Sweet Adelines, and they actually gave me a diagnosis. Boy, those casinos are disgusting. They smoke everywhere over there. They actually gave me a diagnosis of a smoke allergy. I thought it was the biggest irony ever. Me, who personally funded the Marlboro Company's college tuitions for all of their generations. So I had to make a joy list of all of the things that I like to do other than smoke. So that's my favorite music. And I mean, I have to blast it in my ears to distract myself. Or doing some, poetry reading, or, drawing. These are not things that I really do, because I'm not real good at poetry, and I certainly can't draw. But make a list for yourself of the things that bring you joy and make time for them. Has anyone here ever had anybody come to your door and go knock, knock, knock? "Hi, I'm going to clean your house and do all of your gardening, and I don't want you to have to worry about anything. I want you to just take some time for yourself." Has that happened to anybody? No. It's not gonna. You have to be selfish enough to make the time for yourself, because no one's going to come and give it to you. When God made time, he made enough of it. That's an old Celtic saying, not mine. I'm not even Irish. But a brilliant one. When God made time, he made enough of it. So make time for yourself. Schedule it into your day. If you really believe there is no time, you're not doing good enough time management, call me, I'll help you. I did it with my kids all summer. We sat down, my kids now schedule all their time. Looks a little silly, they're maybe a little anal retentive, but they have time for fun every day. Because they're my kids, they have to. All right, questions about this? Okay. Huh? Sunday, that's part of the weekends. It's another chocolate. You get 2 chocolate days. How's that? All right, now, because she was so brave to ask a question, so that you don't feel like you're alone, yeah, there you go. And my maniac friend. And Miss Gwen. All right. You asked a question. And you said something that was funny.
I always say something that's funny.
There you go. Now, listen, I want to warn you, sir. If you start doing what my dad did, my dad started wearing this to funerals. And he says, "We're not joking around now, are we?" And I'm like, "Oh, Dad, please don't do that. I work in dementia care, Dad."
I think this man needs one to go with his.
You think he needs one?
Yes.
I've got one more. Who wants it? Where's the kindness lady go? There you go. All right. This is a laughing and having a lighthearted perspective is not expensive. These are just simple little things that we like to do, and I bring these out to my family, dinner parties. That's why I don't get invited back. Oh, that one's a little serious. What are you willing to do to increase your joy today? I want you to think about that. What are you willing to do to increase your joy today? Several of you are wearing noses. That's awesome. Yes.
Watch more Big Bang Theory.
Watch more Big Bang Theory. And now you know for the health of it, you should. Excellent. What else? Yes.
Go to the health club and go in the sauna.
Go in the health club and go in the sauna. Absolutely. And the swimming pool. Because that brings physical endorphins that are going, and that's good for your joy.
Came here.
You came here. Woo! Yay! Awesome. Okay. What I'd like to do, and I'm going to take my nose off for it. These are little things, I think I got them at like Barnes & Noble or something. Tips for daily living, a 50-card deck. You will not win your poker game in the neighborhood with this. All right, one of the things that we do in the World Laughter Tour is affirmations. First of all, is there anybody who's had a birthday recently or coming up this week? You do? What's your name?
Squire.
Squire. Squire is a birthday coming up. I'd like to all sing him happy birthday. When's your birthday?
12.
The 12th. Okay. We're going to wish him a belated birthday the Laughter Club way. It's okay. You'll figure it out. You ready? Ha 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 ha. Woo! All right. Excellent. Thank you.
Trying to give you a competition.
I love it. That's good. I love it. Okay, we're not competitive. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some affirmations. So what I'd like you to do is we're going to stand up in a minute, and when I make a statement, you're going to say yes with one hand and punch the air. And I'm going to say something else, and we're going to say yes. And then on the third one, both guns, yes. Are you ready? Stand up. And then we're going to end with ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. We are healthy when we laugh. Yes! We can make time for joy. Yes! Simsbury Library visitors are the best. Yes! Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Ho, ho, ha, ha, ha. Yay! Awesome. Have a seat. So I always guarantee that people are happy when they're leaving. Okay, questions, other questions. Anybody have questions, or I don't know if this will work, or how do you do this more often? Yes, go ahead.
Is there any benefit in just like getting up yourself and looking in the mirror and smiling? And
Yes.
saying,
Excellent
"Be happy,"
question.
that kind of thing?
The question was, is there any benefit to just waking up yourself and smiling and being happy? Yes, those daily affirmations help your emotional spirit. And what they have found is, again, it not only helps you and yourself, but people around you. There are people who looked, when I first started working for the Hebrew Home, we had a woman who said, "Oh, are you always this happy?" And I said, yes, it's a choice. Okay, she doesn't work with us anymore. All right, but there are people who are very negative, and there are people who really can't see anything positive. And I feel sorry for them, and I worry and I pray for them in their struggles, but really I can't let them take me down. And this does take work. I will share with you, I have, some of you know her, so I'm not going to tell you who. Well, now you've probably just guessed. Okay, so I have a friend, we'll call her Georgina. And Georgina and I have a lot in common. We worked together, and we both have kids the same age, and we had fun. We got along personally. And I realized that on Monday mornings when she would bring down information to payroll, my office is right next to payroll, she would always stop by my office and tell me about her weekend, and about her sister, and her brother-in-law, and her parents, and her ex-husband, and the kids' school, and blah, blah, blah. And by the end of it, I'm sitting at my computer, and she leaves, and I'm going, Mondays suck! I realized, yes, you have to avoid those people. Now, I like her. I'm not so young and naive, because I am more than 23. I'm not so young and naive to think I can change everybody. I know I can't. But I can limit how much I let that affect me. Now, there are some days where I can handle Georgina, and that's good. And I can let her come into my life. But I also know that I have to then anticipate my reaction. So yes, I have to stand up and say, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and people like me, or whatever, okay, to borrow from Stuart Smiley from Saturday Night Live. Okay, I have to then maybe go up and spend time with my residents, who always put a smile on my face. And they tell me, you're the nicest nurse here. And I know they're lying, I'm not a nurse. Okay? I'm the nicest, but I'm not a nurse. It's okay. You're so pretty. And I think as soon as I walk away, they're going to be saying, oh, that one, whatever. But I need that. Or I need to, on a day that I'm very stressed and have something challenging, I need to close my door as if I'm not there. Or I have been known to pick up the phone and call time. 5248123, and have a conversation as the woman is saying, "Good morning." At the tone, the time will be 9:24. Exactly. All right, so that's what I have to do, then that's what I have to do. So, yeah, I have to limit, because just like the feeding frenzy that happens with the news, that negativity frenzy. Now, I believe that all of us have someone like that in our lives.
And it's hurtful because of having a friend and having to avoid that friend.
Right.
And purposefully avoid that friend.
And sometimes we don't need to avoid, like I said, we just need to make sure that we have something positive after they leave. But if you don't know of a friend like that in your own life, check yourself. You may be that person to someone else. No, I'm not kidding. Nobody in this room and nobody watching it on television is going to be that person. Okay? We all have times in our lives where we're more negative than others. And sometimes, yes, practice makes permanent, as we say in the singing world. Same thing with our attitude and our moods. So if Squire is always happy and having that great smile and standing up and giving me competition, yes, that's awesome, because practice makes permanent. If you want to be a glasses half full person, you got to stop yourself when you think, "Oh, it's empty. Half empty. Oh."
What's the gentleman's, the rest of his name? This title is Squire. What's the rest?
Squire Tuck.
My father was an earl and I'm the squire.
His father was an earl and he's a squire. She's just incognito. You'll fill us in later, right, ma'am?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Good.
Meet
Yeah.
me at the back door.
I want to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm a retired educator and physiologist and all that, but the thing is, there's not many nursing homes or shelters or healthcare places have people like you. Because it's not necessary, they don't think about it, they don't hire them or what?
I love that question. Okay. Could I get back on my soapbox? He asked the golden question, which is, not a lot of nursing facilities, shelters, whatever, have a position like me or have someone like me. You're right. And sadly, that is true. I've made it my personal mission to spread the word and make that change. I used to work for the Alzheimer's Association, and the Hebrew Home hired me because they thought they did excellent dementia care, and someone on their board and in their management said, not really. So they hired me as a consultant, and I wrote a long report with 25 pages and A through J appendices, and I don't think anybody read it. They just said, whatever you put in that report, we want you to do that. And that was 12 years ago. All right, which does not mean that I'm really slow on project work. It means that I've just found all of these other things that need to be done. So you're right, they don't, because Medicare and Medicaid only reimburse for certain key positions. You have to have one nurse, for every 30 residents. 30, can you imagine? You have to have one.
At night too?
No, the numbers go down at night, second shift. You only need one for 60. Day shift, you need one CNA for 10 residents. You need one social worker for 120 residents. You need one recreation director for 45 residents. Okay? So what happens is a lot of facilities staff to the minimums. Okay, especially like during holidays, okay? Now, one of the things that and this is my own personal bias, I prefer nonprofit organizations because they go above and beyond and hire someone like me. I am not responsible for any residents. I'm just there to make the place better. And whether it's dementia care or laughter therapy, I also do a lot of lectures on intimacy and sexuality. I'm getting the sense that might be okay with this group. No? All right, anyway. Sorry. Oh, goodness, this is like on TV. I forgot. I don't know a lot, sir. I only know. But intimacy and sexuality in healthcare settings, it's only a few residents left that are of that old generation that only had sex the number of children that they have. Like my parents. My parents only had sex 3 times. I know that. Okay? Some of them are laughing. They know my mother. Apparently that's not true. But we all believe that about our parents. But when it comes to ourselves, we hope to have ongoing intimacy and passion and all of these things in our lives. That's a mark of quality of life, right? I mean, otherwise they wouldn't have all those ads for Viagra and Levitra and all of these other things, right? So, which, yeah, Medicare covers that. All right, so the question though is, what do we call important in healthcare? And that's changing. So Medicare is really pushing now towards less medical and more quality of life. And more preventive. Your Medicare doctor's annual visit now covers a routine cognitive assessment. Why is that new? If 50% of people over age 85 have dementia, why is that new? But they never covered it before. A good doctor would ask, but if it's not required, they ain't asking. They've only got 7.5 minutes with you, or something ridiculous. So those kinds of things are changing. I work with a lot of organizations to make their programs better and stronger, to integrate. My husband and I authored a book called Total Engagement, an arts-based guide to meaningful activity. I speak all over the country and Canada, and I'll go anywhere, to tell people about how to look at a more quality life through meaningful engagement. Singing is awesome for me. Art, not so much. It scares me. I went to public school. They told me I did it wrong and gave me a low C. Okay, so I'm not doing that. I can respect it. But man, I'm going to sing and I'll be on there every sing-along with all my Sweet Adeline slut makeup. I've gotten more free donuts, am I right? Okay, when we go out after a performance, we look like people walking the streets. The fake eyelashes and the makeup, lots of free donuts. All right, so yes, it's an unusual situation, but a lot of the very good, especially the nonprofits.
I have another thought though.
Yes.
The Jewish people have a tendency to be great comedians, and some of the best comedians of all are Jewish comedians.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Now, I'm not saying, he said that a lot of the great comedians are Jewish. I think that's, again, part of that tragedy plus time equals comedy. And as a people, they've suffered a lot. And I say they because guess what? I'm not Jewish. You don't have to be Jewish to go there or work there. But my mom would tell you I'm a quarter Jew.
Why?
My grandmother was. My great-grandmother was.
And maybe you also had training up in the Catskills.
Training up in the Catskills? It's possible. Could be, could be. We do. We actually have a lot. We actually did our Celebrate Life fundraiser event a couple of years ago, was with a great, great humorist. And we had, we'd been doing the laughter therapy with all of our residents. And when I say we do it with our residents, we even do it with our day center clients. And they go to one of the elementary schools in Hartford and do an intergenerational program with kindergartners and first graders. And these are kids who have been backhanded on the way in the morning and have terrible, poverty and hardship. And they laugh and laugh with the self-titled grandmas, our clients from the day center, and it enriches everybody's lives. So, and part of it is because we're very donor driven. So what's fundable? Would you all donate for low beds? No. Would you donate for laughter therapy? Yeah. So part of my job is to go out there and find out what really is going to help our residents and our clients and make sure that we can, and I'm really a good grant writer and program developer. So. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Who is responsible for getting you to do the program tonight?
Thank you. Do you want to say a little bit? Wait. Was it because you wanted to give them a thank you or criticisms? Oh, okay. The Farmington Valley VNA.
I had the opportunity to hear Pam several times, and she speaks frequently down in Arden Court.
I do.
And she has a program coming up
Wednesday.
Today's Monday.
You did a very good job.
It is excellent. I just thought we'd all enjoy that.
Thank you. Yeah, and to have the VNA do this as a way to help stock the shelves for the local food pantry, I just think is phenomenal. So thank you to the VNA for doing this. Yes? Thank you.
Arden Court on Wednesday?
I am. I'm going to be at Arden Courts on Wednesday afternoon.
Can I go and visit her and hear you?
Absolutely. Actually, my husband and I will both be there. We'll be doing a presentation on our total engagement program. It's free. Yep. at Avon Arden Courts. I will then from there, 3:30 I think is the presentation, I'll be flying out of there to go to Goodwin College where I'll be doing a presentation on brain health. Thursday, I don't remember, I'm doing 2 other programs, and Friday I'm resting because I will have no voice. So. But you can always get on our mailing list too if you want. Like I said, I'll email you this and just put a check near your name if you want to get on our mailing list. Yes.
I live alone and I'm all by myself. I don't have family in the state.
Okay.
Except somebody way far away. So it's very hard because I'm not interacting with somebody at the house.
Mm-hmm.
I do go out, I have things to do.
Yep.
But, so I have to be good to myself.
You do. Okay, what she said is she lives alone, not a lot of family around, nobody in state. She lives alone and it's hard to interact. She goes out, but in the house, she has to kind of be by herself. And you do start to feel like a crazy person when you're around saying, hello, refrigerator, how are you today? Oh, look how pretty I look. You look great too, because you're wearing my face. It's not going to go well. Some visiting nurse goes by, declares you're hallucinating. It's a short trip. The best thing to do is to stay active and involved. Find people who want to be involved with you. Invite them over. Partly be here, the senior center, your faith communities. There are lots of singles groups, and it's not about shacking up. It's about making connections, friendship connections. I mean, maybe it's about shacking up. I'm not here to judge. But it's those kinds of things. I always step in it. It's important to make sure that we're out there, like I said, to be friends. Find something. I always say one of the best things for brain health is to learn something new. And I learn something new every year. I've learned crochet, I've learned knitting. This year I'm learning football, more watching it than playing it. I've got a good spiral, but the falling down part's just not good.
Double wing is?
A double wing?
Yes.
That's not in my NFL for Dummies
Single wing.
books. No.
You gotta learn your football.
Oh, see? But it's early in the season. I've got my money on the Cleveland Browns. I liked them preseason. So, I got to look that up. My husband took me golfing. That was not a good thing. I'm still sore from that. But find out what was it that you always wanted to learn about. Learn a new language, singing, music, an instrument. All of these are good things, and there are ways to connect with other people. Other things you can also do, any kind of a social group or support group, very important, because that's where you really connect intimately with people to talk with them. And then, forget the cleaning and just have people over for a cup of tea, or coordinate amongst your friends a house-to-house, favorite snacks party or something, whatever. Try a new recipe diet. Yes?
How about having a pet?
Oh, pets, absolutely. They're so wonderful. If you're not allergic, and there are lots of animals that you can get now that are hypoallergenic. But yes, pet therapy is huge, and it's so wonderful. I'm actually dog sitting for one of my favorite. I'm not into little froofy dogs. They're kind of like, I have a 19-pound cat, okay? So pretty much these little froofy dogs, my cat is going to take them out. But one of my coworkers has this adorable little froofy dog named Raider, only he doesn't know he's a little froofy dog. He's so cute. And I'm sitting for him over Rosh Hashanah. So he's going to hang out with me and the 19-pound cat and the 78-pound yellow lab and my 2 kids and my husband, and we're going to have a great time. Pet therapy is wonderful, and it's magical. I'm talking, we have people end-stage dementia who can no longer talk and are like this all day, every day. And you put a dog or a cat in their lap, and this is what you get. Oh, it's magical. So get a pet.
We have a Jack Russell.
Oh,
A
fun.
couple of convalescent homes on Sunday night.
Oh, beautiful.
Walking in down the hall. Oh, what a cute dog! They're smiling, laughing. I take them into one of the rooms there. Same thing. They all get excited.
Yeah.
And he'll jump right in bed and lay right next to you without even moving.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. He's got a Jack Russell who he takes to visit the nursing homes. I love Jack Russells because there's no other dog that loves life as much as a Jack Russell. They have fun. But to bring that, and that brings up another point, if you're looking for an intimate connection with someone to make something meaningful, to have a friendship or a relationship, again, just a friendly connection, just volunteer. Go visit and do a lot. And so that's one of the best ways. There are so many people who are shut-ins or who need other, connections. Yeah.
Just talking about our dog, the Jack Russell, The easiest way to meet people is to walk your dog.
Absolutely, absolutely. And see, just getting people together like this and sharing ideas is a wonderful way. So. Oh, V&A is always looking for volunteers. There you go. And it can be as little as knitting a shawl. That's one of the things I do, or going out and making visits. People need people. People who need people. No.
There's a lot of seniors that lose their vision.
A lot of seniors lost their vision, love to read. They need readers, absolutely. They need drivers. A lot of people, you know, one of the things I would love to do in this community is a talent bank. This is something that I just heard of recently out in California. One of the conferences I was speaking at in March, they promoted and started talking about a talent bank. One of the challenges that we have when we're aging is we don't want to be a burden. How many of you here want to be a burden? How many of you fear being a burden? Okay? A lot of times we think of these things and we don't realize we're not a burden. We may have a burden, but we're not a burden. The best way to not feel like a burden is to give back something else. One of the things I've been doing in our support groups is changing our language. We're not caregivers, we're care partners. If you guys are caregivers, if he's your caregiver, okay, although looking at him, I'm thinking, no, you're the caregiver. No, we're teasing you. All right, either way, what's important here is they're a partner. There's a partnership. When two people are married, or a mom and a son, or a husband and wife, a brother and a sister, whatever, someone's always giving and someone's always taking. It may be physical care that you're giving, but you're taking something else. So I talk a lot about making sure we're not defining people by that role, which implies you're a burden, because no one wants to be that. A talent bank is where we can say to someone, you've got extra time, you've got, you know, you can drive, he can whatever. You know, there are different kinds of things that we can do as a community to come together and share to meet everybody's needs, so that no one feels like they're a burden, they're always giving back to the community. Again, get off my soapbox. All right. Other questions? Yes?
What was the name of the place that's certified you?
The worldlaughtertour.com.
How did you run across that?
That's a good question. Larry Wilde wrote a book back in like 2001 called Up to Your Eyeballs in Alligators. And I wanted to use some of his stuff that he had written in that book when I was doing, I started this all because I was doing humor as a coping strategy for Alzheimer's caregivers. And because in my family, that's what we did. You know, when my grandmother had Alzheimer's, you know, this was very early, she was still driving, and she put the three of us in the car, and we went to the local library. And I'm sure the librarians in Windsor remember this. She was from Windsor. And I was 14, and you know how everything's just so dramatic when you're 14. So I go to the library with my grandmother, and there's this big door that says, "Do not enter, alarm will sound." And she goes right through, blam, 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 go all of the alarm library. And I'm like, oh my God, Graham, I can't believe you just did that. We looked at her and very quickly deduced that there was a problem, and she was vulnerable, and she was embarrassed. And in my family, like I said, we use humor. We deflected that. And we started to deflect that embarrassment onto someone else. And we said, what do you think they keep in there? Maybe that's where they keep the really dirty books that the librarians read after hours. All right. And all of a sudden, she was no longer embarrassed. We got giggling about something else. So as I was learning and doing research for that, that's where I came across his work. And he then melded into this World Laughter Tour. What they had done was they started looking at World Laughter by the Laughter Yoga people with Dr. Zavan Kachatoria in India. And they do all kinds of laughter yoga and everything. In parts of the country here in the US, they think laughter yoga is a cult. So we're not a cult. We don't do that. I don't have time for cults. So, but that's how they started looking at that. There, the research is much more qualitative, wishy-washy. Here, they wanted more scientific. So the North American World Laughter Tour is very much based in the hard science, using true research to look at the benefits and health benefits, psychological and physical, of laughter. So worldlaughtertour.com. All right. Other questions, thoughts, comments? Are you glad you came? Yeah. Yay! Thank you. This was good for you. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.